the gold medal match in the men's basketball tournament. Well, the other two Dream Team finals have been one-sided affairs, but I think that the Yugoslavs have waited for this day since they were banned from international competition nearly 5 years ago. And they are determined to make a fist of this opportunity. Is it going to be yet another rendering of Twilight's Last Gleaming, or are we to hear the anthem of the new Yugoslavia? Well, the crowds have been 34,000 plus whenever the Americans have played at the Georgia Dome. That's men and women. And of course, Eurosport will be bringing you the women's final tomorrow night. USA against Brazil, but tonight it's the showpiece of the basketball calendar. The European champions Yugoslavia taking on the Olympic champions, the United States of America. And Coach Lenny Wilkins of the Americans, he's been heard to say that he doesn't actually like the term Dream Team when connected with his charges here. He reckons that the Dream Team should have been left to the group of legendary individuals that represented the birthplace of basketball, the United States, back in Barcelona. The likes of Larry Bird, Michael Jordan,
Charles Barkley,
Patrick Ewing, etc. But Barkley, he was in Barcelona, he was a Dream Team 1 player, and here he is in the 3rd team to have been dubbed with that name. Grant Hill of the Detroit Pistons, Anthony Hardaway, another 23-year-old with the Orlando Magic. David Robinson playing in his 3rd Olympics here. He's got a bronze and the gold. Scottie Pippen, another Dream Team 1 member, going for his 2nd gold. Mitch Richmond, he was in Seoul in '88 when the United States surprisingly lost to the USSR, and Reggie Miller was in Toronto with Dream Team 2. Karl Malone, another Dream Team 1 member, with his Utah Jazz teammate John Stockton. And Shaquille O'Neal, $120 million worth. Gary Payton, late replacement for this Dream Team, replacing Glenn Robinson, and Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets, a 2-time winner of the NBA title. Coach Lenny Wilkins was assistant in Barcelona, and here he is, coach in Atlanta, his home team court, Atlanta. Of course, he's the head coach of Atlanta Hawks as well. And here we go with Yugoslavia. Let's call them the challengers, the European champions. Dejan Bodiroga, a 6'8", one of the biggest guards ever to come out of Europe. Predrag Danilovic, one of the best guards ever to come out of Europe. Sasa Obradovic, another guard. Nikola Lonka, not seen a lot of court time as yet in this tournament. And here's the Iron Man of Montenegro, Zarko Paspal. Miroslav Beric, only 20 years old, playing in an Olympic final. Alexander Djordjevic, 9 out of 12 three-pointers in last year's European final in his total of 41. Zeljko Rebraca, the pretender to the crown held at the moment by Vlade Divac. That's the starting 5, the center. Tomasevic, 23-year-old, and Topic, a 26-year-old. And they've held back this man, Zoran Savic, in his 100th cap tonight, playing for Yugoslavia, and that was coach Zeljko Obradovic. A winner by anyone's terms.
The starters for the United States are...
So the courtside announcer, just to read out the starters for us. Pippen.
Number 10, Reggie
Miller.
Number 11,
Malone.
Number 14,
Gary Payton.
And number 15.
And for the first time in this tournament, starting is Hakeem Olajuwon. That's interesting, because they reckon that Vlade Divac always plays well against Hakeem Olajuwon. A brave move by coach Lenny Wilkins.
Number 8, Zarko Paspal. Number 10, Alexander Djordjevic.
And
number 12,
quick results I can give you in the third place playoff tonight. Lithuania 80, Australia 74. So Australia still without an Olympic medal in the history and the long illustrious history of the Australian game. Well, while we're just waiting for the start of the game, we'll take this opportunity to take a break on Eurosport, so rejoin us after these messages. Back here at the Georgia Dome, we've just seen the announcement of the Yugoslav starting five. They're going to start with Bodiroga, Danilovic, Paspal, Djordjevic and Vlade Divac. And they're the starters for the United States: Pippen, Miller, Malone, Payton and Olajuwon. So some insurance there for Coach Lenny Wilkins, just in case the Yugoslavs come out in a zone, and that is not to be expected. They've got Reggie Miller in there, one of the renowned zone busters, an outside shooter of the highest order, and the two men who've been given the task of arbitrating this game. We have from Spain, Mr. Betancourt, and from Mexico, Mr. Reyes Ronfini. So very Latin elements in the officials tonight. Well, it was widely anticipated that the USA would meet Yugoslavia in this Olympic men's basketball final. And obviously that's exactly how it's turned out. They were both top of their groups, undefeated. And it's also expected that the Americans will retain the gold medal that the original Dream Team won 4 years ago in Barcelona. But if the Yugoslav coach Željko Obradović, who's a born winner, has been able to dismiss all thoughts of being content with the silver, then we could just possibly be here to witness the greatest upset in the history of Olympic team sports. Well, it all depends on really how each team approaches this game. That's Danilovic looking a little bit nervous. Will the Yugoslavs play the shot clock down, or will they try and play their normal game? Will the Americans, like they did against Russia in the World Championship final, play powerhouse basketball from the outset? That's tough defense and a fast break offense in the opening 10 minutes to blow their opponents off the court? Or will they be a little bit more patient, like they were against Croatia in Barcelona, and wait for their greater strength in depth to tell? Well, it's the Americans in the dark shirts against Yugoslavia in the white. And Bodiroga, the biggest guard ever to come out of Europe, takes the first rebound. Well, the buzz of excitement is tangible, to say the least. Everyone on the edge of their seats. This the game they've been waiting for. Divac against Hakeem. And still no one scored. It's Hakeem the other end against Divac. Divac knocks that ball out of bounds, so it's US ball, end line. There's Scottie Pippen. He started in all but 2 of these games and had a good tournament so far. Djordjevic reaches in and is fouled. Beaten by Gary Payton. It was the head fake that did it. And is that a little sneer on the face of Coach Obradović? And Scottie Pippen just asking the Mexican official why it isn't shots. There's Payton again in the corner to Karl Malone. Karl Malone just inside the arc, misses, and the rebound taken by Danilovic. Here's Djordjevic, defended by Gary Payton. Gary Payton, nicknamed the Glove, and that's a testament to his defense. Danilovic, Bodiroga, Djordjevic again into Divac. Divac misses, but not quite gets the rebound. And there's a loose ball. This is Djordjevic taking Hakeem on, no foul. Hakeem blocked the shot. A very nervous start from both teams. And the referee just blows the whistle to stop any eventuality of an injury. And Malone sporting a new haircut, I think, for this Olympic final. Yeah, Malone there boxing Divac out and throwing him to the ground, and Yugoslavia get the luxury of possession. This is Bodiroga. Danilovic looking to come off a pick, and there's Divac taking Hakim on, and that's an offensive foul, first foul against Divac, so it's 2-0 Yugoslavia. Good defense from Hakim Olajuwon. His name, believe it or not, in West Nigerian, Hakim Olajuwon means always being on top. Well, Vladi Divac landed on top of Hakim then and got a foul for his pains. Malone the rebound. There's Scottie Pippen, misses, complaining bitterly to the referee that there was no foul call. There's Djordjevic into Bodiroga. Yugoslavia open the scores, and I tell you what, that Yugoslav team, they're after a win here. No pretense about it, they want to win this. Still no score for the United States. Bodiroga into Paspal, the first time Paspal's touched the ball. Djordjevic slowing things down, marked by Gary Payton. Divac sets the pick, and Paspal off the glass, 4-0 Yugoslavia. The Yugoslav bench standing and applauding and anticipating a miracle perhaps. Well, this is the longest that the Americans have gone without scoring, 3 minutes. And it's the Yugoslav defense doing it. There's good defense again. Vladi Divac dribbles the ball up the court. And that was great defense there, but Danilovic gives the ball away, 2-on-1. This will be the first score for the Americans. 4-2 disaster there for Danilovic. Gave the ball away, and well, the one thing the Yugoslavs didn't want, just to relieve the pressure for the Americans with an unneeded error. And we have Paspal just receiving some medical attention on the bench. Was that an elbow to his nose? I don't think he cares that much. He's as hard as they come, both physically and mentally. Well, it's a blood injury, so he has to leave the court. Oh, that would have been a superb bounce pass inside, but so well read by Gary Payton, and Reggie Miller the layup uncontested. Enforced substitution here for the Yugoslavs, because Paspal has a nosebleed. And a very young player takes his place. It's Tomasevic, and there's a foul. Yep, Tomasevic inside for the foul, and Hakim forced to push him. So Yugoslavia having to regroup somewhat. Tomasevic, he's only 23 and he's on the foul line. And Gary Payton, as he's been doing throughout the tournament, just letting his feelings known to the referees. And Tomasevic, cool as they come, straight off the bench, and hits his first foul shots. And it looks as though they're trying to get Paspal fit as quickly as possible. Tomasevic misses the second foul shot, so Yugoslavia leads 5-2. Are we to see history tonight with a dream team losing for the first time? Well, if there's any team that's going to do it, it's going to be Yugoslavia. There's Karl Malone on the fadeaway. Hakim the rebound, and Vladi Divac can't quite keep the ball in bounds, and Divac just encouraging his teammates there. Divac, of course, now with the Charlotte Hornets. And the two from the corner for Reggie Miller, 5-4. A bit of front court pressure here. That was a 3 from Miller, so 5-all. Bodiroga gets 2 and the foul. And he's at 2 fouls on Hakim. The problem is that if Hakim does get loaded up with fouls, then well, they've always got Shaq or David Robinson to replace him. Great move there from Dejan Bodiroga, only 23 years old. and he hits the bonus as well, so 8-5 to Yugoslavia. Bodiroga drafted by the Sacramento Kings, but playing at the moment with Stefan Milan, and that ties the scores again. It's Reggie Miller, this time from the opposite corner. So 2 3-pointers from Reggie Miller, keeping the United States in the game at the moment. Here's Danilovic, defended by Reggie Miller. 2 great 3-point shooters, foul Reggie Miller. And Reggie Miller actually applauds the call there. Here's Miller again, just goes outside the arc and buries it from 3. And just had a little chat with someone in the crowd there as well. Djordjevic, Paspal back on court. Having had hasty repairs to his nose. Here's Bodiroga backing Payton in. Bit of a mismatch there, 6'8 against 6'3. Bodiroga, no foul. Well, I'm amazed. There's Bodiroga again. Still no foul. Well, that's amazing. A lot of contact in there. That's what Bodiroga was after. And I tell you what, Payton and Hakeem a little fortunate there to come up with no foul call against them. Paspal off the glass. It's 10-8 to Yugoslavia. The underdogs on top slightly at the moment. Scottie Pippen into Hakeem. Hakeem backing Divac in. It's 10 apiece. Well, we've got a real game on our hands. Of course, other teams have stayed with the United States at least partway through the first half, notably Australia, who after 15 minutes were tied at 36s. Early days as yet in the final, it's 10 apiece. But Yugoslavia not afraid to go out there and go for the win. That's Djordjevic off the glass again, having the better of Payton. 12-10 Yugoslavia. Miller, this time defended by Danilovic and defended a lot closer. Good hands from Divac. Knocks the ball out of the hands of Hakeem. Then here's Hakeem and the rebound. Bodiroga and Carmelone. Yes, again Carmelone whinging at the referees. Gets a technical for, and that's his second technical in his tournament, and it's well deserved. Well, Malone not slow to put himself around a bit. Moaning at the referees, and for his pains Malone comes out. 2 fouls against Malone and replaced by Charles Barkley. That's a good substitution there by coach Lenny Wilkins. Barkley had a great game in the semi-final. Well, no technical called. There's a holding foul called, and somewhat late as well was the call. But Barkley had a great game against Australia. 100% from the field, 7 from 7 and 9 from 11 from the line. Yugoslavia will be well aware of that. There's Divac missing and Pippen the rebound. It's 12-10 to Yugoslavia. Here's Barkley into Hakeem, defended by Divac. The fade away from Hakeem and the rebound taken by Bodiroga. Defensive foul. Bodiroga's fouled again by Pippen. And I tell you what, Bodiroga's doing a great job in there. Very smart move by coach Obradovic to put Bodiroga in there, 6'8 guard. Giving the Yugoslavs a mismatch opportunity in there. And the Americans quick to respond to that. They switch Payton back out onto Djordjevic. The rebound taken by Pippen. So Danilovic not really got into his stride yet, playing a good game on defense, but not yet scoring. There's Pippen, the finger roll, 12 apiece. Pippen dealing in 1-on-1 there. Pippen, after a quiet start to his career at Chicago, now many people's choice of one of the top 3 players in the world. Paspal outside the arc for 3, 15-12. The signal goes up from the bench, number 1. Well, if Yugoslavia are to be number 1 in the world, then they're going to have to beat this galaxy of all-stars. There's Payton going inside, pulling up shorts. And the rebound taken by Hakeem. Here's Payton again. Payton again got that rebound on the floor virtually, and there's a scramble in there. It's going to be held with a jump ball. Payton rebounded his own shot twice then. And the floor will definitely need swabbing down here. There's a replay of Scottie Pippen. And here's Pascal outside the arc. Not accustomed to him shooting from that distance. If only he could shoot his foul shots with such good technique. It's 15-12, Yugoslavia in the 1996, the Olympic final here at the Georgia Dome, Atlanta. No smiles as yet from Charles Barkley, but perhaps they'll come later. There is a sense of self-belief about this Yugoslav team. And they win the jump ball, but give it away again. Couldn't quite get two hands on the ball. And Danilovic having a quiet game as yet. There's Pippen going inside. Offensive foul has been called against Scottie Pippen. That's his second. The man stepped in. And that's Scottie Pippen's second. And that's his third, in fact. Well, now that's a real bonus for Yugoslavia. And that earns Pippen some time on the bench. Whatever that means in Yugoslav, I'm sure they understood. Serbo-Croat, one of the coach Obradovic's speaking. Turnovers, 5-2. Now make that 5-3. United States 5. And I'll tell you what, two of those turnovers from Yugoslavia, two of their three turnovers have been definitely unforced. There wasn't a lot of defense there, and Yugoslavia threw the ball away. If they can eliminate those, then who knows? Yeah, there's another foul. David Robinson this time. So the referee's not afraid to call fouls. And that's good to see. I can remember the 1994 World Championship final. USA Dream Team 2 against Russia. And the referees tended to freeze in the first 5 minutes. The Americans took full advantage of it and powered their way to a massive lead. Well, that's not happening here tonight. Referees definitely not overawed. And we'll now see if Sir Charles is talking at the Spanish referee, Mr. Betancourt, has any effect. That's what it's designed to do. And here's Pascal now. Zarko, get your foul shooting action sorted out, please. So 8 fouls against the US and only 2 against Yugoslavia. We'll see what effects a little chat between Charles Barkley and the officials will have. I hope it won't play on the officials' minds, because that's what it's designed to do. Well, Mitch Richmond really losing possession there, bouncing it off his foot, and David Robinson missing. Oh, again a turnover. Body Roger gave the ball away, and Charles Barkley picked up gratefully the rebound. 16-14, and without 3 turnovers now, this would be big problems for the United States, but as it is, they're still in the game. Body Roger for Yugoslavia. Divac being forced out. Robinson being brought away from the hoop. Here's Danilovic, defended by Miller. Declines the pick. And shoots the 3. There's a foul. Yes, that's 3 foul shots. The foul against Miller. Stepped underneath his man before he landed. That is illegal in an attempt to box out, and that brings boos from the crowd, but that's a very good and a very brave call from Ray Droppini. Here we go. Here's a replay of it. And Miller steps underneath his man before he lands. That's a foul. It's a good call from the referees, because if you let that kind of thing go, then you're going to put it in the mind of three-point shooters that men are going to step underneath them, and that's quite painful, and that will take away good shooting technique. And Charles Barkley there, not used to 3 foul shots being given for a three-point shooting foul. It is not in the NBA, but Danilovic gets into his shooting stride now. 19-14. To Yugoslavia. The crowd getting involved now, and at the moment they need to. There's Robinson going inside. Misses, and the rebound taken by Divac, and this time they don't give the ball away. An inspired performance from Yugoslavia, despite those 3 turnovers. The Americans have got a game and a half on their hands. There's Pascal again. 21-14. Now will coach Lenny Wilkins bite the bullet and call timeouts? He needs one. There's Barkley inside. Robinson. Well, that's maybe the spark that the Americans needed. 21-16. The crowd have come alive. And the dunk from Robinson off the bounce pass from Barkley. Bodiroga being defended by Mitch Richmond. The pick from Divac. Djordjevic fouled by Payton. And how on earth Payton can complain at that, I do not understand. Well, the crowd are booing, but that's just about an obvious a call, as you can see. And that's great officiating, despite the glare from Gary Payton. Second foul, and 2 shots to Yugoslavia. Well, Miller's having a good game so far, but he's taking a rest on the bench. There's Payton, bodying Djordjevic out of the painted area. The look of disbelief on Payton's face, but just about as obvious a foul as one can imagine. Now, will Barkley go and talk to the officials yet again? Djordjevic hits the first. 22-16. Reggie Miller, 2 3-pointers and a 2. Look of concern on his face because it's now 23-16. John Stockton on court for the first time tonight. Not had a particularly good tournament by his high standards. One of the best passers in the NBA. And he needs a good game tonight. Barkley gets fouled and will go to the line. Ironic cheers from the crowd. Good foul, Pascal. That's his first. Pascal is playing again like the man inspired. So Yugoslavia have had 10 foul shots and they're hitting at 80%, and this the first foul shot for the United States. I tell you what, that wiped his feet a couple of times, didn't it? Hit the front, the back, and both sides, I think, of the rim there. 23-17. Long time to go, of course. And again, the ball not going in cleanly. 23-18 in the second half of the first half. Bodiroga defended by Hardaway. Here's Djordjevic way outside the arc, defended by Stockton. Well, no foul called there, but Djordjevic gets his own rebound. And I tell you what, Stockton a little bit fortunate there. A lot of body contact. And then Stockton reaches in. Here's Divac. Divac is fouled. The foul, David Robinson. Good interchange there. And Coach Obradovic has done his homework on these Americans. He knows they always double team the dribbler on a pick and roll situation. Yugoslavs were ready for it and found the open man, and here he is, the man that was open, and now he's on the line, having been fouled by David Robinson. 24-18. Well, it was actually Barkley who reached in. Robinson came across to help, but Barkley got there first. Divac tries to rebound his own shot. Perhaps he would have been better concentrating on the second shot. Here's Stockton inside. Robinson and Barkley. And Barkley tempted to throw the ball at the man who nearly blocked his shot. 24-20. Nice pass there from Stockton. Drove to the hoop, through 2 defenders, and found the open man, who happened to be Charles Barkley, one of the best power forwards in the game. This is Bodiroga. Under pressure from Hardaway. Bodiroga inside off the glass. You heard the reaction of Hardaway. Nice move there from 23-year-old Bodiroga. And this time the crowd applaud that move. Stockton Stockton driving the baseline again, and this time Robinson is fouled. He's got 2 and a bonus. 26-22 with a bonus to come for Robinson. And we've not seen this before, the Americans having to get into a huddle to talk things over. And I think I heard Robinson then say, "Don't worry, we're okay." Here's Stockton drawing the defender, and I tell you what, Stockton dipped his shoulder there. A little bit fortunate not to come up with an offensive foul. And even Charles Barkley reduced to appealing to the referee there, suggesting that he may have been boxed out a little bit early. Here's Djordjevic defended by Stockton. Pascal. Off the glass again for Pascal. Can the man miss? Well, he can from the foul line, but not from the floor at the moment. 28-23. Barkley looking to go baseline. And good hands there. Danilovic. Danilovic has got 3 points so far, all from the line. Well, was that Serbo-Croat for should I call a timeout? Robinson inside left-handed, 28-25. Well, we've seen Robinson come off the bench a couple of times and act as the saviour to the US. Did the same against Australia when they were in a little bit of trouble. Again, crashing the boards. And he's gone inside here, as one would expect. Here's Divac. Back out to Djordjevic. That's a foul. Stockton hit him outside the arc. 3 shots to Djordjevic. No complaints from Stockton that time. Well, I don't know. He's complaining bitterly now to the referee, but how on earth these Americans can complain about fouls like that, I know not. Here's the replay. Yeah, and he clobbered Djordjevic on the shot. That's 3 foul shots. Oh, that one wiped his feet and bounced out this time. And we've not got the normally joyful, smiling, laughing even crowd tonight at the Georgia Dome, because they're seeing their team trailing by 4 at the moment. Make that 5 at 30-25. And the look of belief is still there on the faces of the Yugoslav players. Here's Stockton pulling up and shooting off the glass. 30-27. Pascal at the other end for the break. 32-27. Pascal, the man of the moment for the Yugoslavs, hasn't missed from the floor. Stockton to Mitch Miller. Mitch Miller misses the rebound by Djordjevic, and he just about held onto that as well. Danilovic outside the arc, misses the 3. Stockton didn't foul him that time, smartly enough. Here's Stockton again going inside. Inside and out. Hardaway defended by Danilovic. It's 32-27 to the Yugoslavs. Divac. Oh, nice pass there from Hardaway, but Barkley couldn't anticipate it, and the rebound taken at the other end by Robinson. No pretense of running the shot clock down from these Yugoslavs. Playing their normal game. Here's Robinson. Nice shot there from the foul line, or just level with the foul line. 32-29, and Coach Obradovic has called a timeout. Great performance from Yugoslavia. They lead by 3. And, well, it wasn't Lenny Wilkins who was forced to call a timeout, but I suspect that Coach Obradovic has just called a timeout just to regroup. Content in the fact that his team are playing a great game here, but just wants to remind them, I suspect, of the game plan. And I'll tell you what, the USA needed this timeout as much as Yugoslavia did. Well, the flags, the stars and stripes flying, as well as the new Yugoslavian flag. The old Yugoslav flag used to have a big star in the middle of it, but now there's a crest of some sort. Well, they're a telling statistic. Yugoslavia have had 15 foul shots and scored 11 of them. Americans have had 3, and they are 100%. Well, a look of concern on the face of Hardaway there. And Zoran Savic, well, that's a real tragedy in his 100th cap. And I hope Yugoslavia don't rue the fact that he sprained or picked that injury up in a training session. Tragedy indeed for Zoran Savic. We might need him on the boards. Here's Djordjevic into Vladi Divac. The rebound again by Paspal. The man can walk on water at the moment. 34-29 with 5.5 to go. Zarko Paspal playing out of his skin. And there he reaches in to pick up his second foul. Well, he'll remember this game, the first half of it at least, and present the video of it to his grandchildren when he's in his dotage. And that'll be sidelined to the US because Yugoslavia not yet in team foul problems. Here's Stockton. And Bodiroga just reaches in to foul, just grabs the man's arm. Well, I got one word there, shooter. As for the rest, I'm clueless. Hardaway hits the first, it's 34-30. Well, that says something for the starting 5 of the US. 1 point from their bench, 18. Oh, that can't be right because Yugoslavia haven't really gone to their bench. So 34-32. With just over 5 to go. Now Yugoslavia have to be content. They're never going to run away with this game. There's Divac. The pass from Djordjevic was read easily, and here's Robinson trailing through. He's fouled, misses the dunk, but will go to the line for 2 shots. And what's Lenny Wilkins concerned about? Here we go. It's Paspal's third. And I think Lenny Wilkins was asking for an interference call there. None has been given. Paspal, bit of a tragedy for him there, picking up his third, having played a wonderful first half. 16 points, Zarko Paspal. MVP of the first 15 minutes, without doubt. There's Robinson, misses the first, so USA remain 2 behind. Robinson from the Navy. Joined the Navy when he was 6'4" and grew 7 inches to his present stature of 7'1". This is the second as well, and the rebound taken by Tomasevic. And he passes it into the safe hands of Vladi Divac. So a vital time now for Yugoslavia. They've got young Tomasevic, the 23-year-old backup forward on, and they can't put Savic on because he's injured. So they really do have to be very careful in these closing minutes of this first half. There's Tomasevic into Divac, and a poor pass too easily read, and there's a foul, silly foul by Tomasevic in frustration at his turnover, I suspect. And now's the time that Coach Obradovic for Yugoslavia needs a timeout, just to calm things down a little bit. So he takes Tomasevic off, and well, this is desperation time for Obradovic. He's had to bring Paspal back, and really what he's saying is that his bench is not very strong. Well, I wonder what's happened to Braca, the big number 11, the 7-foot Benetton Treviso player, because he's some player, and if Obradovic is keeping him in reserve, then I hope he doesn't keep him out too long. I also hope he's not injured, something we haven't heard about. Paspal takes the rebound. So Yugoslavia still lead, but it's only by 4. They were 5 ahead at 30-27. So the US have scored 4 without reply. And Yugoslavia need a basket here. And they give another turnover away. And now, well, is this going to be the turning point in the game? Coach Lenny Wilkins has waited and waited and waited. And now he's introduced the man mountain, Shaquille O'Neal. Are things going to change dramatically now? Don Nelson did this with Dream Team 2. He held Shaq back for a long time. And now Yugoslavia really are up against it. And there's a foul against Divac. A different game is in prospect now for Yugoslavia. They've got Robinson and Shaq in there to keep off the boards. And Pascal coming out again, replaced by Lonkar. Lonkar is only a 6'7" player. Well, actually it's Rebraka. Rebraka, the number 11, the 7-footer. So this for David Robinson to tie the scores, which he does. It's 34 apiece. And I wonder whether Coach Obradovic is just regretting he called that timeout about 4 or 5 minutes ago, because now is the time he needs one. There's Rebraka to Djordjevic, to Danilovic rather. This is Bodiroga. There's a mismatch there, Bodiroga. And that's being called a foul against Stockton. The crowd don't like it. Stockton obviously doesn't like it. And the scowl from Stockton says it all. But I tell you what, these referees not being intimidated one iota. Here's the replay of it. Well, yeah, I think Stockton actually stepped forward into that, looking for the charge to be called. Well, I may have done Stockton a disservice there. Let's call it a 50-50 call that went Yugoslavia's way. So perhaps it could be described as a good foul. Rebraka, Bodiroga rather, missing the first, but not the second. So their lead, their narrow lead is restored. It's 35-34, 3.5 to go first half of the Olympic gold medal game. Stockton defended by Djordjevic. Rebraka steps out on the pick. Here's Shaquille. Oh, how on earth he can be allowed to just barge his way through there? Well, he did, and the US go into the lead. And Obradovic, the gesture says it all. Shaquille O'Neal very fortunate there, mowed Divac down and came up with 2 points. And there's Shaquille stepping out. Danilovic fakes the 3. As indeed does Divac. Divac looking to take Shaq on to NBA centers. Oh, that's a foul. Well drawn by Divac. Played his man, cat and mouse, and Shaq forced to reach in. Played against each other many times in the NBA. Shaq with a distinct weight advantage, but no height advantage. Divac on the line, needs 1 to tie. This is the first time that the Americans have been in the lead. Is it going to be the same story as in their other games in this Olympic tournament? A turnaround in their fortunes in the dying embers of the first half. Well, there's a 3 for Hardaway. 36-39, the biggest lead the Americans have had. Yugoslavia have led by as many as 5. But now, danger signals for everybody's underdogs, Yugoslavia. Here's Djordjevic, Rebraka, and they still had not much of a game. Well, that looked suspiciously like interference to me. The referee signaling it was on the way up. Divac fumbles the ball, misses easily, the rebound taken, and the foul by Rebraka. So the Americans getting the best of the latter stages of the first half. Here we go, here's Rebecca. Is it on the way up or the way down? Well, at the top of its flight, I reckon. Obradovic there just asking for an explanation of that non-interference call. And the referee just warning him to cool down a little bit. And personally speaking, I think he had a point. The lead is 4 to the Americans, that is 36-40. 36-41 now. If I were Obradovic, I'd call timeout now and just remind his team they've done a great job so far, but they don't want to go in at half-time with a double-digit margin. They have to be content with a close score at half-time. Oh, nearly another turnover from Djordjevic. Bodiroga. Divac outside the arc. Bodiroga the rebound. A lot of fakes in there. The Americans asking for a 3-second call. Bodiroga can't believe he wasn't fouled. Yep, and there's the timeout from Obradovic. Smart coach that he is. He's seen a 5-point lead disappear, and now his team trail by 5. So he's called a timeout just to remind his team they have to be content. What we have, we hold. And that's a close game. And do not want to go into half-time trailing with a double-figure margin. Well, as normal, the crowd being entertained during just about every break in play. And every American player has been on court except Grant Hill, who is carrying an injury. So the Americans will be the fresher team. And Yugoslavia really struggling with injuries. Danilovic yet to hit from the field, so perhaps his time will come in the second half. End line ball, Yugoslavia. Now will they play the clock down? Danilovic resorted to the point guard spots. And again the Americans double team the dribbler, and it pays off. Danilovic left his feet. That's great defense from the Americans. Every time there's a pick and roll situation or even a straightforward screen situation, they double team the dribbler and then attempt to force the error. And there's Hardaway, 36-43. In the last minutes, USA by 7. And they will be mightily relieved at seeing that lead. Here's Danilovic, Djordjevic, Divac. Bodiroga inside, defended by Shaq, defended by, and fouled. Fouled by Mitch Richmond. Well, the crowd don't like it again, naturally enough. One wouldn't expect them to be overjoyed at it, but once again, a legitimate call. Mitch Richmond fouled the shooter. Here's the replay. Yep, no question. Fouled him twice, in fact, and then stepped under the shooter. Bodiroga hits the first. Well, that's their first score in a long time. It was 36 apiece. The Americans had a 7-0 run. And that run is broken from the foul line. 38-43. Now the Americans, will they be content to go for one last shot, or will they look for a foul? Pascal is not on court. I say that because he's in foul trouble. Yeah, the Americans running the clock down, looking to take the last shots. Are they going to go inside and look for a foul on Divac? There's Hardaway, misses. Get their own rebound. And the rebound drops into the hands of Danilovic. There's the long attempted shot, which doesn't come. So Obradovic, pretty content, I would think, with 38-43, but it could have been so much difference. And a very pensive Lenny Wilkins there. So 48-43 plays 38 in the Olympic final. USA lead by 5. It's halftime. Well, back here at the Georgia Dome, we're just watching action replays of some of the best plays of the first half. And Zarko Pascal there, one of his 16 first half points. And here's Shaquille O'Neal backing his man in, mowing Divac down and getting 2 off the glass. Well, everybody knew it was going to be a game. It's 38 to Yugoslavia, 43 to the USA. It's still halftime. We'll take another break. Join us again after this. Back here at the Georgia Dome, it's still half-time, and some interesting statistics are going up there. One that came up a few moments ago. The scorers for Yugoslavia, Danilovic 3, Divac 2. So they're 2 NBA stars, only scoring 5 points between them. But I tell you what, Zarko Pascal, 16 points, Bodiroga, 10 points, and Djordjevic, 6 points. The non-NBA players are keeping Yugoslavia well and truly in this game. Well, as we look at a couple of other statistics, we'll take another break, so join us after this message.
He was admired as an athlete, and even then also admired for his engaging personality.
The music is the theme to Superman, and how appropriate. Muhammad Ali being presented to the crowd at the Georgia Dome. A winner of a gold medal in boxing in the Rome Olympics. One of the most famous men on this planet. And Juan Antonio Samaranch presenting Muhammad Ali with a commemoration medal for the Atlanta Olympics. The whole crowd on its feet. What a tribute to the great man. A man loved by just about everyone in the world, and a great ambassador for his country. Well, more than 1 or 2 tears in the crowd. Magic moments here at the Georgia Dome. And a moment that the Yugoslav players will remember for the rest of their lives. Now the applause matches the applause that Muhammad Ali attracted at the opening ceremony a couple of weeks ago. And again, the music so appropriate, Superman. Well, back to the game in hand. It's Yugoslavia 38, United States 43, and it could have been so different. Just a few statistics from that first half. Yugoslavs normally A renowned three-point shooting team have only scored one, and that from the unlikely source, Zarko Paspal. So no three-pointers from their star outside shooters, Djordjevic or Danilovic. And 3 three-pointers to the United States, 2 from Reggie Miller, 1 from Anthony Hardaway. Well, the stars are well and truly out tonight. Michael Johnson, winner of a gold medal at 200 and 400 meters. An autograph hunter's paradise indeed. Another interesting statistic as you watch members of the US Olympic women's basketball team. Another interesting statistic, the bench scoring. Spike Lee there, the bench scoring. The Yugoslav bench have scored 1 and the American bench 31. So perhaps that's a testament to the fact that Lenny Wilkins got his starting 5 wrong. Or at least they went into the game with the wrong attitude. David Robinson came off the bench and became the Americans' top scorer with 12. Well, the other 2 Dream Team finals, the one in Barcelona and the World Championship final in Toronto 2 years ago, have been one-sided affairs. Well, I'll qualify that to some extent because Croatia did actually take the lead partway through the first half, I think at 25-24, but the Russians were blown off the court in Toronto, but this, anything but one-sided. I believe sincerely that the Yugoslavs have waited for this day since they were banned from international competition nearly 5 years ago. And I tell you what, they are determined to go out and give it their best shots. What a proud moment for them if they could only get the new Yugoslav anthem being played as they pick up a gold medal. But the task facing them is monumental. The Americans outscored them 7-2 in the closing stages of the first half. And remember, the Americans outscored the Australians 7-0 in identical circumstances. Yugoslavia and USA were tied at 36 apiece, and so were Australia and the United States, 36 apiece. So Pippen back on court, Malone off that tirade of abuse at the officials, and Djordjevic, Divac, Danilovic have had no break as yet. So they are going to be very, very tired at the end of this game, and every American that's fit has played, and only Grant Hill still to come on court, and he's injured. Djordjevic, it's his shot batted away by Hakeem Olajuwon, and Gary Payton, the finger roll, 38-45. This game at the moment following the pattern of the other 2 or 3 tough games that the Americans have had. A close first half, and well, I hope I'm not anticipating too much. But a little bit of an easy score there for Gary Payton at the start of this second half. I don't think the Yugoslavs would have thought, well, we've done the job, we've got the silver. Here's Danilovic, yet to score a field goal. Again, the Americans step out to the dribbler on the double team. There's a foul. Divac ends up on his backside on the floor. I think he's in trouble. He landed right on his coccyx there, and well, that is going to be painful. He's just nodded, I think. I'm all right, he said. And here we go. Here's the replay. And Hakeem, well, that's a bad foul by Hakeem. Just well, made a back for his man, didn't he? And it wasn't so long ago referees were calling that as intentional, as it became unsportsmanlike. Divac has recovered. All these points so far, all three of them have come from the line. 39, 45, 40, 45. So we're back to where we were at half-time with the Americans leading by 5. Here's Gary Payton, the ultimate competitor on defense at least. Reggie Miller into Hakeem. And the rebound drops into the hands of Karl Malone. I tell you what, Karl Malone is not doing himself any favours in this tournament. Well, he's just looking for confrontation situations. And bloody Divac is calming it down. And look at Reggie Miller going at the Yugoslav bench. Well, this is not what an Olympic final is supposed to be about. There are two teams of very hard players out there, and they should respect themselves as being very competitive. It's important for both teams to win this, and Djordjevic again doing the job that he did in the European final last year against Lithuania, acting the diplomat. And here's a replay of that situation. Oh, Malone just sticks his arm into Divac's face, and that is not pleasant at all. And I'll tell you what, neither's this. Well, international relationships being strained at the moment. Well, it's up to the coach to calm his players down. Divac picks up his third foul, and Malone is on the line. 40-45, it stays. Now let's watch this. Oh, that is dreadful. Karl Malone. No pretense about it. Whack. And Divac bats it off the board, but straight into the hands of Hakeem. And Reggie Miller misses the 3, and Divac the rebound. A little bit of justice being seen to be done there. Here's Pascal backing Pippen in for the hook shots. Pascal again, 42-45, 18 points to Pascal, top scorer in the game so far. Former San Antonio Spurs player, of course, and only averaged 2 points a game with them. Oh, his credibility has gone up dramatically. Karl Malone, the fadeaway shot, and the ball drops into the hands of Djordjevic. Great hustle there from Divac, but the Americans come up with the ball. There's a foul, and the foul against Djordjevic. Going to back his man out. And his third foul as well. So we've got Pascal, Djordjevic, and Divac on 3 fouls. And that particular statistic could be the deciding factor, or one of the deciding factors. Djordjevic still feeling a little bit of a twinge in his back, but he's tough. It's 42-45. Now the game has gone very scrappy at the moment, but I tell you what, that actually suits the Yugoslavs. They're never going to beat the Americans in a run and gun situation, so if they can keep the game tight and maybe just let the Americans think the impossible may happen, then you never know. But Scottie Pippen there on the turnaround, 42-47. There's probably no better player in this American team in a one-on-one situation. Scored a great one-on-one move in the first half, and there he was. That's all he was dealing in. Divac, the foul, the screen. Djordjevic, at last, a field goal, a layup, 44-47. It's still tight, 17 and a half to go. That may be an eternity to these Yugoslavs. Gary Payton misses, and Hakeem gets the rebound, fouled by Bodiroga. Coach Obradovic may have to look down his bench. And Bodiroga's second. He may regret that silly foul he committed, reaching in on Reggie Miller, or rather Hardaway in the first half. Hakeem standing on the line. Hakeem, Nigerian born, of course, with the Houston Rockets now, and back-to-back NBA championships, 94 and 95. It's 44-48 now. Hakeem's had a quiet tournament by anybody's stretch of the imagination. 49-44, USA by 5. This is where we were at half-time, so it's not been a runaway situation for the US. They've not got away from the Yugoslavs. And Bodiroga taking Karl Malone on and, well, making him look slow. 49-46. Scottie Pippen defended by Bodiroga. Reggie Miller defended by Danilovic. Oh, good hands past Pascal. Here's that replay of Bodiroga taking Malone to the hoop and coming out the winner. Gary Payton, defended by Obradovic, dumps it into a larger one, and that is a real problem for Yugoslavia. Vlade Divac just picked up his 4th foul. Well, we saw Divac in last year's European Championship final stay on court on 4 fouls. But no disrespect to Lithuania, this a different ball game entirely. So Djordjevic is taking a break, and that's why Obradovic, the number 6, is on. And Hakeem again successful from the foul line. It's 50-46. How long before the Americans start to pull away? Anyone's guess, if in fact that does happen. 16 and a half to go. Yugoslavia trail by 4. And if there is a degree of anticipation or bias even towards the European side out there, no regrets from your commentator. This would be the biggest upset in European Olympic team sport history. Obradovic stepping inside. The foul is being called on Karl Malone. Now, Mr. Malone, what are you going to say about that? His 3rd foul, and well drawn. In fact, superbly drawn by Sasha Obradovic. I never touched him. Quote Karl Malone. And again, Malone's going at the official. Here we go. Well, he was right, actually. I never touched him. Obradovic hits the second. It's 50-47. Game plan working at the moment for Yugoslavia. Here's Scottie Pippen. Oh, that fell dreadfully short. Obradovic didn't have to jump to the rebound at all because he picked it up off the floor. And Yugoslavia resorted to game plan 1. Bodiroga playing the point. Relieving Danilovic. There's Bodiroga from 3-point range. And he gets the ball back as a result of a good offensive rebound from Vlade Divac. Smart play there from the now Charlotte Hornets player. Oh, Zarko Pascal, the first mistake he's made in the game, just threw the ball too high to Obradovic, who was wide open on the baseline. Barkley back on court. And Malone takes a deserved spot on the bench. Barkley inside, drawing the foul. Is that Divac? I think it is, yep. It's good night, Vlade, I'm afraid. He claps the official, but more in disgust than anything else. Well, that a real tragedy for Yugoslavia. Divac out, no field goals, 4 points from the line, and now it's Vlade Divac's turn. Well, I don't think he's having a go at the official. I think he's encouraging his teammates. And Charles Barkley there just threw himself at Divac. Superbly drawn by Charles Barkley. A wily old competitor. I saw him live on Larry King Live the other day. Strangely enough, it was live. And, well, a very eloquent performance from Sir Charles, who has ambitions about being governor of Alabama, and also has ambitions of an NBA championship ring, possibly signaling a move from the Phoenix Suns. It's 51-47. So I think we could call this a somewhat nervous display from the US. It is the final. Obradovic out to Bodiroga. Shot clock ticking down. Bodiroga into Rebraka, who misses the dunk. That was a pity for him. Here's Barkley. Offensive foul, Barkley. Well, I think Yugoslavia got out of jail a little bit there. Crowd booing it, and I would like to see the replay of this. Here's the dunk attempt from Rebraka. Barkley got a hand on it, and then Barkley's off to the races. Look at that guts and sheer determination down the floor. And here's the contact. Well, I'll give Obradovic the credit there. Stood his ground, and Sir Charles mowed him down. So great defense there from Sasha Obradovic of Alba Berlin. Djordjevic now playing the point and going inside, dumping it out to Obradovic, who misses the three. Well, the shots won't drop for Yugoslavia, but there's a double dribble. Gary Payton, so a game that is now riddled with mistakes. And that, to me, testament to a great coaching job by coach Željko Obradovic. 3 times winner of the European Championship for men's clubs, 92, 93 and 94. With 3 different clubs. Great coach, that man Obradovic. And here's his namesake, no relation. Going inside, and Gary Payton got a hand to it. Rebraka, Djordjevic from outside the arc. Yes, at last! That ties the scores. Djordjevic, his first field goal. My mistake, it's still 50-51. A little bit of over-enthusiasm from your commentator. Here we go. His first 3. Remember, he hit 9 from 12 in last year's European Championship final against Yugoslavia. 27 points from outside the arc in his game total of 41, which earned him the Most Valuable Player award. Well, Gary Payton takes a spot on the bench. Grant Hill injured, and it was Gary Payton's fumble that caused this condensation, or rather moisture, to be put on the floor. And Djordjevic enhanced his tally of points to 11 with his second field goal of the game. He got a layup and a 3-pointer this half. Well, the chance of Yugo. It's 50-51 and still a long way to go. I hope I'm not putting a hex on Yugoslavia, but we are very close to history. If the Dream Team lose this, then, well, there'll be shockwaves around the world of basketball at every level. This has been almost preordained as a guaranteed gold medal for the United States. But at the moment, it's anything but Reggie Miller there hits a 3. It's 50-54. And Reggie Miller just looking at the referee there, but commenting nothing. I think what he was thinking was, well, why is that not a foul? And he did the same thing in the first half and was called a foul. The same thing that is as Djordjevic. Djordjevic takes his man on. Paspal goes to the hoop. And there's the first field goal attempt that Paspal has missed, but there's a foul. And Mitch Richmond chomping away and chewing away and possibly bitching away. Hardaway picks up a foul, and here's Reggie Miller to replay of that 3-pointer. And I'll tell you what, the United States needed that one, and there's Reggie Miller, yeah, just looking, why is that not a foul then? Well, I can't answer him, because I don't know. Here's Danilovic. Oh my word, what a shot under pressure. 52-54. That's his first field goal. So the big outside guns of Yugoslavia have started to fire. And there's David Robinson. The big inside guns of the United States are still firing. 52-56, under 13 to go. USA by 4. So Pascal just missed his first field goal attempt. There's Djordjevic back out to Rebraca. He misses. He choked a little bit on that shot. Had a bit more time than he thought. Here's Robinson going inside. And the foul against Rebraca. Again, very well drawn by David Robinson. Now look at this shot under pressure. 2 men on him. And Danilovic buries it. It's 56-52. Every time Yugoslavia score, their bench hit the roof. There's Robinson. The immediate reply to Danilovic's pressure shots. And Robinson, top scorer for the United States. I think that makes 19 for him. My mistake, it makes 16 now. 52-58, the biggest lead of the game. Again, my mistake, the biggest lead of the game was 7. At the moment, it's only 6. I've got the Americans scored almost from the tap in this second half. Here's Djordjevic. Defended by Hardaway. Danilovic wants the ball badly. Pascal. Oh, Pascal is now throwing up a couple of prayers. Here's Barkley. Barkley's been assigned the job of marking Pascal. And there's a foul being called. Is it against Barkley? Barkley had a very physical tournament back in Barcelona. And that's his 4th. Well, it's a problem for Charles, but not such a problem for the USA. And the first timeout of the second half is called by Coach Obradovic. So it's 58-52 to the United States. But they will remember this game, even if and when they win the gold medal, as their toughest game in the history of the Dream Team concept. At no time were Dream Team 1 threatened in a second half, and nor were Dream Team 2. But I tell you what, Yugoslavia have done the old world proud here tonight. I can't see any Red Indian Warriors around, but the Village People's YMCA has become the anthem of the Olympic basketball tournament here in Atlanta, and the crowd are loving it. And unusually so, it's not been orchestrated by Charles Barkley. He's on 4 fouls. There's a foul, Reggie Miller reaching in. Barkley's still on court on 4 fouls. Been assigned to stop Zarko Pascal, and so far in his second half, apart from 1 field goal, he's done a good job. And Reggie Miller picks up a foul there. That's his 3rd. So the referees not flinching from their tough assignments. Arbitrating on possibly the toughest job outside of the NBA. Oh, Sir Charles has gone fouled out on a tech. No emotion shown there from Charles Barkley. But here he is. Well, we saw the reason why there. It's a player technical, so Predrag Danilovic has been given the job of shooting 2 foul shots. I don't think there was any doubt as to what Charles Barkley said. to the Spanish referee there. Not the kind of language one would have expected from a possible governor of Alabama, Sir Charles. 53, 58. Unless American politics is vastly different from the politics that I know. And Fernie Hardaway into Robinson. Robinson is having a great game. And, well, the Americans are lucky that he is, because without him, they'd be struggling. Of course, they could always replace him with a mere Shaquille O'Neal, I suppose. But Robinson having a great game. In fact, having a good tournament. Rebreka on the turnaround. Oh, the follow-up from Zarko Pascal. 55-60. It's still possible. The unthinkable, that is still possible, and that is the USA taking the silver. There's Robinson again inside. Oh, cleared his man out beautifully. Not illegally. What a lovely move there from Robinson. Got Rebreka on his back. The bounce pass inside, and no problem for Robinson. Oh, look at that lovely move inside. Cleaned his man out. Get out of here. Wham. 2 points and a bonus. 20 points. And this, an opportunity to make it 21, which he does. 55-63. Now, that is the biggest lead of the game so far to the USA. Yugoslavia led by 5 in the first half. And here's Rebreka. Yugoslavs need a game from him now, and Fernie Hardaway can't quite hang on to the ball. And Scottie Pippen, no technical foul there because he was chastising himself. Rebreka trying to pass off to Djordjevic. That's a travel. Well, Obradovic smiles and says something about a walk. What a pity that Obradovic hasn't got the services of Zoran Savic here. More experienced than Rebreka, and there's the almost an alley-oop pass there, and it's a 10-point margin suddenly, 55-65, so the game going into its 4th quarter now of regulation and beginning to slip away from Yugoslavia. Oh, Djordjevic throws the ball away. And of course, Obradovic has had a timeout. There's a foul by Djordjevic. He knows that he shouldn't have given the ball away there. 65-55. And a tragic turnover there by Djordjevic. Here it is. Reggie Miller easily read that and it's intercepted, and Djordjevic fouls. Well, a few smiles on the faces of American players now. They've been a long time coming, 30 minutes in fact. But perhaps now they sense that the Yugoslavs have shot their bolt. 67-55. Yugoslavia need to regroup. And of course, there's no Vladi Divac. He's fouled out. There's Rebreka. He's fouled. Great pass there from Pascal. Obradovic wants to get back in there. And that's Pippin's 4th. So it's become a little bit of a procession to the bench. Divac has fouled out for Yugoslavia. Barkley fouled out for the USA. Pippin on 4. Pascal on 3. And here's Rebreka on the line. Oh, Rebreka has choked in this game. And Danilovic just walks up to him and just tries to calm him down. John Stockton eager to get into the fray. Oh, Rebreka All they needed was half a game from Rebecca at the moment. And there's a foul. Danilovic. So it's a team foul situation for the US. Pippen takes a break. He's replaced by John Stockton. And Stockton just clarifying the fact that it's a shooting foul because of the team foul situation. And here's Reggie Miller. Well, everybody's choking, but the US lead by 12. Reggie Miller, I've mentioned a couple of times in this tournament, brother of Cheryl Miller, one of the best basketball players ever to come out of the United States. But Reggie's got a brother as well, Darryl Miller, a baseball player with the California Angels during the 1980s. So, an extremely talented family, the Miller family. Djordjevic to Obradovic. Now, I hope the Yugoslavs are not just going to be content with a low-scoring affair. And Rebecca can't buy a score at the moment. If only. Rebecca. Here's Pascal to the hoop. Nice. Oh, it's all going wrong suddenly for Yugoslavia. They're even missing layups now. And I would think Lenny Wilkins, a much relieved man. One or two nightmarish scenarios were laid before him during the first half. But I think you can see the light at the end of the tunnel now. Well, there's a foul called. And is that Pascal? If it is, that's his fourth. So from such a promising first half for Yugoslavia, it's suddenly all gone wrong. And there's the foul. Yep, Robinson was about to receive the pass and Pascal just put his hip in and puts a big man on the floor. Here's Robinson, missing from the line. So Pascal takes a break on 4 fouls. Just to regroup, I suspect. Robinson hits the second. 69-55. Here's Djordjevic. Obradovic back to Djordjevic. And Bodiroga takes over at the point. The defense swarms around Bodiroga. Foul, Anthony Hardaway. The 23-year-old Orlando Magic man, former teammate, of course, of Shaquille O'Neal, just reaches in. And we've not seen an awful lot of Shaquille O'Neal in this game. 3 or 4 minutes in the first half, in fact. Perhaps a sign of tiredness coming in. Yugoslavia have done a great job for 30 minutes, but the pressure now telling. It's 69-56. And a welcome point there for Yugoslavia. US were on a 9-0 run. And Yugoslavia having to be content with crumbs at the moment. Danilovic, another foul. Miami Heat man, of course. Predrag Danilovic puts Miller on the line again. Danilovic, the number 5 for Yugoslavia, only played 19 games in his rookie season in the NBA this year, missed 62 games and returned to the playoffs against Chicago, which Miami lost 3-0, but he did average 8 points a game in the playoffs. And of course, was the MVP in the Final Four in Istanbul back in '92. So it's now 71-56. Well, if the USA win this by 20, 30 or more points, then it won't really be a fair reflection on the game. What it will be is a testament to their strength in depth. And Obradovic missing the reverse layup there. Stockton goes to the hoop, misses and gets fouled. And the Yugoslavs looking at each other now. They've looked up at the scoreboard and I think they realise that the numbers are. Vlade Divac is out on the bench. And, well, one or two anguished looks on the Yugoslav bench that now. They know that they've given their all, and they can be extremely proud of the effort that they've put into this game. They've shown European basketball in a great light. 72-56. It's not over yet, but I can see no way back for the Yugoslavs. 73-56, over 7.5 to go. The margin 17. Remember, it was 5 points at the half, and it was 36 apiece. So this game, almost a carbon copy of the semi-final, United States against Australia. That too was 36 apiece before the Americans ran away with it in the last 35 minutes. There's Djordjevic wanting the foul, but getting nothing except 2 points. 73-58. That's the first field goal for Yugoslavia in a long time, and John Stockton travels. John Stockton, 34 years old now. The oldest man in Dream Team 3. And the smallest at 6'1". So 73-58. If the Yugoslavs can get this margin back to single figures, then that would be a really tremendous performance and a fair reflection. Here's Bodiroga. He's had a tremendous game. A 6'8" point guard. And he's attracted a lot of NBA scouts. They'd like to see a 6'8" player posting defenders up, posting smaller guards up, and Danilovic reckons he had his arm taken away there, and I wouldn't disagree with him. Darko Paspal, easily the MVP of the first half. 2 seconds left on the shot clock. There's Djordjevic. The buzzer went, but I tell you what, it went after the shots. Now, how the referee's going to sort this out? Yes, good call, jump ball. Even though the Americans got the ball, that is a superb call. That's the interpretation. Lenny Wilkins doesn't like it. That is a correct interpretation from the Spanish referee. I'll tell you what, these two officials have had a brilliant game. A lot of Americans might not agree with that, but I beg to differ. Well, there's the key statistics. 6 points in the last 7 minutes for Yugoslavia. So Rebraca will take the jump ball against David Robinson. Oh my word, what thinking. Reggie Miller dunks the ball, but what a great pass there from John Stockton. The Yugoslavs were appealing for the deflection out of bounds. Stockton chased it down and threw the ball 3/4 of the length of the court for Miller to dunk it. Here's Danilovic. Again, can't beat the double team. Well, that's a matter of, here's that pass again from Stockton. Look at this pass down the floor, and Reggie Miller had the easy thing to do. Bodiroga. Oh, Reggie Miller, the steal, and here's another dunk, this time for Hardaway. 77-58. Well, what a disappointing second half for Yugoslavia. The Americans are putting this game beyond Yugoslavia now. It's a 19-point margin, but the Yugoslavs can feel nothing but pride. I suspect they will feel a lot of disappointment as well, but they can hold their heads very, very high indeed. And there's an off-the-ball foul call against Mitch Richmond. Despite the shrug of the shoulders, here's Reggie Miller handing off to Hardaway in a very unselfish fashion. Miller knows he's going to pick up his second gold medal as a Dream Team player. He wasn't in Barcelona, but he was in Toronto in '94. Now, Danilovic will be very disappointed with his points tally, but I tell you what, he's had two men in his face every time he's got the ball. And that a matter of respect from the Americans. You can go home shaking your heads thinking, well, why did I only get 6 points? And the reason is because of really tough double teaming from the Americans. It's 77-58 with just over 5 minutes remaining in the Atlanta Olympic basketball final. Miller steps out and Djordjevic retains possession. Here's Danilovic into Paspal. Paspal backing Miller in. Oh, no foul call. Oh, what a lovely alley-oop there. The pass from Miller, the alley-oop from Hardaway, and the 6'7" Orlando guard completes the alley-oop one-handed. 79-58. It's showtime. It's been a long time coming for the Americans. There's Danilovic inside, gets 2 and a bonus. It's all a little bit late now for Predrag Danilovic. 79-60. Here's Hardaway. Was it an alley-oop? Let's have another look. Caught it just below the level of the rim, took it above the level of the rim and threw it down. Here's Danilovic with a bonus. And chased down by Paspal, but the Americans get the loose ball. 79-60, travel by Robinson. A hint of a smile on the face of Lenny Wilkins, who of course was assistant coach in Barcelona to Chuck Daly. So Obradovic has taken off Djordjevic and put on his namesake, Obradovic, at the point. And there's a 3. Good substitution, 79-63. Divac, a competitor to the end, still urging his teammates on, despite the fact that he personally has been fouled out. Here's Robinson, defended by Rebraca. Rebraca fouls him. Had no choice really, did he? 79-63, a very, very respectable, total respectable performance indeed. And I would suspect that Vlade Divac would be quite content to see the game ended now. Unless, of course, we had a miraculous turnaround, which I can't see coming. Robinson, probably the MVP as far as the United States are concerned. And there on your screen momentarily, a bit of a villain tonight, Charles Barkley, fouling out on a technical. And no gallivanting around Atlanta in these Olympics for Charles, because we understand he's had a couple of chaperones with him, namely his mother and his grandmother. Danilovic misses the 3. It was Hardaway who got a hand in Danilovic's face, and that's why the 3 missed. And there's Sasha Obradovic fouling Reggie Miller. Well, a lot of players out there, past masters at drawing fouls. And we've just seen a superb example of that. Reggie Miller making Obradovic foul him. So, Coach Obradovic has called his second and last timeout of the Olympic final. 3.5 to go, and it's United States leading by 18, with Reggie Miller going to the foul line for 2 foul shots. Unusual headwear there, and that reminds me of one of the quotes from the Zaire coach in the women's basketball tournament, whose team had just been absolutely thrashed by the USA. Coach Zaire reckoned that basketballs cost $100 each, and therefore in Zaire they can only afford 1 ball for every 100 kids. Sorry, 1 ball for every 20 kids. And perhaps that a plea for a couple of donations of basketballs to the Zaire national women's team. 3.5 to go, United States by 18. Look at that, bench scoring. United States 52 of 81. Yugoslavia only 7. This is Reggie Miller without the eye protectors. Put them on the floor. I wonder if he'll do that for the second shot as well. The smallest margin that for any team has taken the Dream Team to is 22, 104.82, and that was Lithuania. It's now 20. So I'm sure Yugoslavia, great rivals of Lithuania, would love to keep the margin where it is now. We have Nikola Lonkar, the number 7 for Yugoslavia, on court. Yep, foul. Obradovic will go to the line for 3 foul shots, and John Stockton almost disappeared into the crowd. And if you get a chance to get a replay of it, we'll see why the foul was called. May even have been out of the angle of the cameraman there. So at one stage, Yugoslavia had, I think, 15 foul shots to the Americans' 3. But the balance has been well and truly redressed now. And at last, a smile from Charles Barkley and even Scottie Pippen. Obradovic hits 2 from the first 2. Oh, they're all smiling now. 83-65. 83-65 it remains. I'll tell you what, there weren't many smiles in the first half though. But now a lot more relaxed approach from the Americans, particularly David Robinson. 85 plays 65. Obradovic almost travels. Pascal hands him the ball back. And all the talking at the moment coming from the American bench. Lonkar into Pascal. Pascal being kept very quiet this second half, and Rebecca cuts through the key and he's fouled. Or is it Danilovic? Fouled by Mitch Richmond. Now Danilovic really has been worn down in this game by physical pressure. Every time he's got the ball, he's had a body on him, and more often than not, he's been double teamed. And Djordjevic back on court, replacing Lonkar. Well, that's what happens when you've had a lot of physical pressure. Even the closed skills desert you. Now 2 young men there, in the knowledge that they're going to pick up silver medals. Probably disappointed, but fairly content. 2:20 to go. US by 19. Mitch Richmond, the zone buster. 88-66. So there's that 22 spread that the Americans beat Lithuania by. And I think the Yugoslavs deserve to be within those 22. Danilovic again leaving his feet and giving the ball away. Well, that pass came off the backboard. I think it may possibly have come off the hand of Hardaway. 90-66. The second half onslaught continues. Here's Djordjevic. And at last, Rebecca gets his name on the score sheets with a rebound. 90-68. 90 seconds remaining. Will the Americans get to 100? And John Stockton, the pass inside to Robinson. The left-handed layup, it's 92-68. Nice little smuggle pass there from Robinson. And here's Stockton again. Mitch Richmond doing a good job on defense. Reggie Miller. And again, Hardaway rebounds his own shot, gets fouled, and gets 2 shots. And Shaquille O'Neal, a big player in this game, and that is not something you can be said of David Robinson. Game high of 28 points. Well, there are many reasons why the Americans have won this game, but the principal one is the contribution of David Robinson. magnificent game on 28 points, and Rebecca has just fouled out on 4 points. A game he will remember the rest of his life, but I'm sure he will think and agree with me that he choked in the clutch. The rebound for Djordjevic. A minute to go, 93, plays 68. Pascal leaves the floor, and Shaq steals it and then gives it away, and it's stolen back. And the alley-oop pass to Miller, 95-68. Well, they can afford to smile now. Will they make 100? 95 plays 68 with 40 seconds remaining. And Djordjevic, I don't think he wants to see 3 figures up against his team. So content to run the clock down. The crowd on their feet, saluting this gold medal. There's a foul. And Zarko Pascal will go to the foul line. And there's a measure of respect from Anthony Hardaway. Goes to Pascal and congratulates him on drawing the foul. And we even got a smile there from Karl Malone, possibly the first in the game. And there, Miller hangs on the ring, having alley-ooped. Now Zarko Pascal, 16 points in the first half, only 2 in the second. And steps away, as is his wont, from the foul line. He should stand his ground on the foul line and get more success if he did. 95-69. And thoughts go back to Andrew Gaze of Australia, who hit 21 in the first half and only 4 in the second. And Zarko Pascal, 16 in the first and only 3 in the second. And the Americans content to run the clock down now. Are they going to take the last shots? I think that a measure of respect for Yugoslavia. No attempt is made. So the final score, 95-69. Well, Dream Team 3 repeats the successes of their predecessors. Dream Team 2 and 1. They win the gold medal. Dream Team 1 won in Barcelona, and they won in Atlanta. Dream Team 2, of course, won the gold medal in the World Championships. But a tremendous performance from the European champions, Yugoslavia. They've lost 95-69. Well, it was so different in the first half. That ended with a score of 43-38. But the Americans overran Yugoslavia during the second half. And there they are, celebrating their gold medal. A 34,000 plus crowd celebrate and salute their heroes. The United States have won the gold medal. Well, it was preordained that the United States would win the Olympic title in Atlanta, and so it came to pass that Yugoslavia, well, they took up their rightful position as winners of the silver medal. They can feel nothing but pride in a tremendous performance.